My name is Douglas Dillon, and I'm the athletic director here at Guardian Christian Academy. And today we have a guest.
I'm Glenn Pfluger with RVA Athletes.
I'm going to ask Glenn a couple questions. Glenn, what is your background in helping athletes prepare for their individual sport?
Well, growing up, I was a multi-sport athlete, mainly a lot of time on the soccer field, also wrestling. And I got hurt, so I wanted to become a physical therapist. Long story short, right before I went to PT school, I realized I wanted to get into strength and conditioning, help people not get hurt first, as opposed to waiting until I saw them to get hurt. So then we went down the athletic development path to help them get prepared. Instead of doing rehab, it's more prehab. So I pursued an undergrad in exercise science as well as my master's, and my specialty was performance enhancement and injury prevention.
And why do those athletes get hurt?
Well, essentially, there's two ways that you can get hurt: blunt trauma or overuse. Either you can fall from jumping really high, you run into each other for collisions, or there's overuse. You're running and you might start having a nagging pain. But ultimately, if you get hurt because something's out of balance and your body's just not prepared. So if we find asymmetries during screens, then there's a high risk of somebody getting hurt. But generally, the two ways you get hurt are blunt trauma and overuse.
And an athlete considering to do this development, I know that you had mentioned there's an assessment that they go through. What type of evaluation do you do, and what kind of information does that athlete and parent and possibly coach get from that evaluation?
Yeah, we generally start everybody with a functional movement screen. The screen is 7 tests, just looking at how the human body works. Everybody, you and I, and all parents, grandparents, kids should go through it because it's a human movement. Do you have the required movement that the human body has? Because we're dealing with athletes, they're now superhumans. So they're moving faster, more frequently, and essentially getting ready for war. So if there's something wrong with their baseline movement, then up the change when we speed it up and add strength and competition, there's a problem. So most athletes at the top of a pyramid, really, their skill. And everybody sees the skill. It's what we see on the basketball court and the volleyball court, soccer field. And skill is what everybody wants to be prepared for. Underneath that, we have a performance block. So performance is your speed, is your strength, and that helps. The faster, the stronger you are, the better your skill's going to be. But underneath that, you have movement. But if your movement is the base and it's the widest, but if it is not set up correctly, then you're not going to be able to tap into your speed. You're not be able to tap into your strength, and therefore your power output and your development for the skill is not going to be taken advantage of as way as it could. So if we know through research that movement base through the evaluation is not set up, you're at risk for injury. So we want to kind of clear that path out to saying the risk of injury is as low as possible so they can take advantage of their performance and then ultimately have the best experience in their athletic event.
And I know some of our students here at Guardian Christian Academy has gone through your program. So why should a student athlete consider doing this development?
If a student athlete knew they had potential to do better, I think they would take advantage of it. I don't know any athlete that would ever want to get hurt, but they would want to know if they were at risk to just be prepared so they know they can be confident in giving their best while they're in their athletic event. And if they're confident in knowing that they've prepared off the court or off the field, so when they go into it, it makes a world of a difference. Most people assume that they're okay, but we have to take that assumption out because as soon as they get hurt, then they can't play. Then they have to go through the rehab process, which we were trying to avoid in the first place. Then they have to regain the confidence and the athletic skill because now they're behind because they weren't playing before and developing. So now it's a big catch-up game. So if we can get on ahead of it as opposed to being reactive, then that's a win. So most athletes like to have a baseline from where they are and be able to expand from that.
And as speaking as a school athletic director, I know here's the big question is, what about the parents? How do we encourage the parents to put their students into this program?
Sure. Kind of just like the athletes, I don't think any parent wants their kid to get hurt. I know that sports these days are big investments, So the time and energy that's put in it, they want to make sure it's well spent. As a parent of two, I know that I'm going to help my kids out succeed any way possible. So if there's a way that I could avoid them as much as possible, because we really can't prevent injury. It's impossible. But you can reduce the risk of it happening. That's through research, and that's why we have our screens and our processes. But as a parent, if we can help them become more successful, I want my kids to be more successful than me. So if I can give them a better experience, the sky's the limit. So for parents, it's keep your kids safer and then have them enjoy the best experience they possibly can, because we don't know what level they'll get to, whether it's high school, college, maybe they have the opportunity to get to professional. But if they get hurt, their chances start going down for their experience. So we want to give them the best opportunity possible. That's what it comes down to for parents.
And how do we encourage as coaches? Coaches, whether it be before preseason, in season, how do you encourage the coaches to get their athletes involved?
Coaches need a team to win, and you can't have a team of hurt individuals. So if we look at the evaluation first, saying these athletes are prepared or these athletes are not prepared, what is the process to getting them prepared? So for coaches, they want to be confident themselves, saying, when I put X, Y, and Z on the field, on the court, that they know that they're prepared and they're not at risk of hurting them. So they can maximize their true potential. And we go back to the skill. The coaches see the skill point. If we can give them better performance. So professional athletes do strength and conditioning. College athletes do strength and conditioning. We do strength and conditioning where we started, age 8. As soon as you want to put your kids into competition, because there's competitive athletes and then there's participation athletes. If you're just going to go out and play for fun, awesome. We still want to make sure you're prepared and don't get hurt, because nobody wants to get hurt. But if it's competitive, you really want to make sure that they're prepared. So for a coach to say, I know that my team is prepared, that we're going to reduce the risk of our injury, that the performance is going to go up, because no coach wants to lose. No coach wants to have their team hurt. So if we can increase their preparedness and their confidence in their development of their student athletes, it's better chance they're going to get the trophy at the end of the day.
Well, I know Guardian Christian Academy is going to be taking a part in this program. We're going to make it available for our athletes. We're also going to be opening it up to X-Zone volleyball program. Hopefully we'll be able to have some girls and boys be able to do their program with you. Is there anything else that we should know, or anything else that you would like to relay to any of the athletes, parents, or coaches before we end?
I just want to say thank you very much for the time to be out here. In my opinion, and I'm a common sense kind of guy, it's a no-brainer. Well begun is half done. That's something my mom always told me. We want to make sure that we're set up for success. You put in a little bit of work here, make sure you're going to reduce your risk of injury, then the experience goes really far. Even if you just clean up that movement block that we talked about, it will help you become faster and stronger and more powerful and a better athlete if you just work on the weakest of links. But if you only go down and just try to get really strong and really fast, you're not going to be able to take advantage of the opportunity. Now, everybody that comes in, they could pass the screen, and not a problem. But we just want to make sure that's clarified. It's really just like going to get your car inspected, going to the dentist, making sure you don't have any cavities or there's nothing wrong. It's preventative maintenance at the start, and then, hey, listen, if you want to go to the next level and really get some good sports performance, that's the next option. But we can't go lower than the base.
Well, thank you so much, Glenn, and please feel free to, after this question and time, we're going to have an athlete here at Guardian Christian Academy. Miss Megan James is going to have a little brief thing on her development through RVA Athletics. So I appreciate you, Glenn, for being here today.
Thanks, Doug.
And thank you so much for listening.